the Bar Association. Well, they send out regular things.
Right. You don't ever want to read anything from them.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
At least not daily. So, I mean, you sit down and you skim through it. But it's not something I want to look at every day.
Boring. Right.
Right.
Hey, I'm Armando Leduc, producer, film actor, and owner of Leduc Entertainment. I've chosen a life off the beaten path and wanted to find others that are doing the same. Spaghetti on the Wall is a show based on all of the years that I've thrown spaghetti on the wall and nurtured what stuck. We will share fun stories, ideas, tips, tricks, and more. Welcome to Spaghetti on the Wall.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on when you're consuming this podcast. Spaghetti on the Wall, ladies and gentlemen. Rusty Messer's in the house.
Armando, it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Do you like that? Do you like having the applause?
Hadn't thought about it.
Who doesn't want applause, man?
If I can put it in a box and give it to myself whenever I'd like,
Wouldn't that be great? Just, you arrive somewhere and,
right. So I have a door chime at my door. Like you open the door and ding, I'm going to get that. Like I'm going to change it out every time you open the door.
It's exactly what you should get. Right. This is the sound. I have other sounds too. So if you say something funny, something scary, and then sad trombone, of course. So
yeah, my staff would play that one too much.
There you go, man. So you're a personal injury attorney. Why are you an attorney?
So before I went to law school, I owned a copier company, selling copiers, fax machines, fixing printers, things like that. And I was looking around, and lots of inventory, techs not showing up, running down jobs, and thinking, is this really what I want to be doing long term? And I heard a quote by Warren Buffett. And Warren Buffett said, it is better to be excellent in an average paying profession than, I'm sorry, I have that backwards, to be average in an excellent paying profession than to be excellent in an average paying profession. So I said, well, what could I do with less overhead, maybe less headache? That didn't work out. But what could I do to raise the platform that I was playing from? So I'd always thought about going to law school. When I finished college, I got out and I worked for about 5 years. I went back, I was a little bit older and went back to law school. But that's why I went. I wanted to change professions into something I could see myself doing long term. And I wanted to raise the platform that I was playing from.
And so you joined the law profession. It's so funny because I was just talking to a legal guy that does stuff out in D.C., and he was talking about Warren Buffett too. And he was talking about, just consistency, and sort of the mundane consistency is what creates greatness, right? It's not chasing every shiny object. It's the actual just working day in, day out to make you great, right?
Greatness is boring.
It is. So you got the discipline, obviously. Where do you think your discipline comes from?
Probably from how I was raised. Grew up fairly probably lower middle class, maybe borderline poor. My mom was a waitress. My stepdad was a truck driver. But they woke up every day and they went and did it, put in the long hours, come back, saved their money. We lived frugally, but I learned a lot from them. I learned the value of hard work. It was instilled to me from a very young age that I was going to college one day. And I was the first person in my family to go to college.
Congrats.
First person to graduate, first person to get a graduate degree. So I always knew that I was going there, that I was going to go to college, that I was going to be something else, that this was the path. So I think I learned a lot from watching them.
Why entrepreneurship? Why not just be an attorney at a law firm?
So I tried that for about a year. Not really for me. Surely it's for some people. When you start off in a law firm, when you start off as a young attorney, nobody wants you because you're really not worth that very much. So I walked in and I sat at a desk for about 10 hours a day, staring at legal research software, and I left and I came back and I did that again. And I left and I came back and I did that again. That was not a life I liked. Now, think I had owned an office equipment company for 5 years where you're meeting people, you're dealing with customers, you're dealing with your employees, you're out talking to people, you're going to networking events, and it was a lot more fun than being a lawyer. So I said, I sold office equipment for myself. I bet I can practice law for myself. So I went out, moved back to Baton Rouge, because actually my first year out of law school, I get the call from the employment office. It's to call every law student is dreaming of. Hey, this great firm, they want to interview you. So this great firm interviews me. They have offices in Dallas, New York, New Orleans, all these great cities. And they offer me a job in Monroe, Louisiana. I wasn't from there. My wife's not from there. We made it about a year. It's a lovely place, just not the place I wanted to live. So,
Heard.
yeah, so I came back, and I came back in, and I rented a little bitty office. I remember I was paying, and I think about this all the time because part of me misses it. I was paying $500 a month for an office with all utilities, had to answer my own phone. All I owned was my desk and my computer sitting on the desk. And that's it, just going out, meeting people, doing the things that I knew how to do, trying to bring in business.
How long have you had your law firm?
Now, so in October of this year, I will have been practicing 17 years. So 16, I've been on my own.
Nice. So how hard, and we primarily talk about a lot of marketing. What are some of the things that you do marketing wise in this whole personal injury profession?
Sure. So where I think a lot of lawyers really mess up is they drive down the interstate and they see all these guys with these billboards and they think, I need to be just like that. Boy, if I could just get some money together and get some billboards, then life would be going great. Most lawyers are sitting on a gold mine in their own backyard of their past clients. If you just started practicing, of your relatives, of your neighbors, of your friends. My past clients, for anybody that I've represented, I'm the only lawyer in the country that can pick up the phone out of the blue and call them to see how they're doing. Just to call and say, hey, what's going on? I'm the only lawyer that can, for no reason whatsoever, drop a letter in the mail to them. Because for any other attorney, that's called a solicitation and it's not prohibited. But if I have that relationship with them in the past, they're fair game to me to market. And so I think a lot of lawyers don't capitalize on getting the referrals, getting the repeat business from their past clients because they're caught up on getting the billboards up there. SEO is huge right now. Oh, you need more blogs on your website. We do some of that. But if you are not, I would say, north of probably $500,000 in annual revenue, you should not be spending money on SEO. You shouldn't be paying anybody else to do it. You don't need to be running Google ads. You don't need to be doing PPC. You need to be out there connecting to your clients, working your network, stuffing newsletters in the mail, doing the things to get the, I don't want to say the low-hanging fruit, but the easier business to get, because referrals are much easier to close than new leads.
You know what? So glad you said that. It's funny how things just start to, just kind of show up, because I was just talking about referrals, Why do I find it so difficult to ask for referrals, but I have zero inhibitions about cold outreach and inbound marketing, you know what I mean? But for some reason, when I hear a referral, there's a reservation about it. Why do I feel that?
So for someone who's worked with you in the past, you think they like you? You hope they liked you.
Sure.
But if you went to them and you asked them to refer you business, one, you feel like you're imposing upon them. Two, there's that risk that they're going to, what if they don't refer you? What if this person that I did all this great work for, that I thought liked me, didn't like me? And now you've internalized that rejection by somebody that you thought was really on your side.
Right.
But as an attorney, I can't tell you the number of times I've run into somebody that I haven't seen in 3 or 4 years, and they're like, oh, well, I just had this kind of problem. And they're like, well, you didn't call me? I didn't know you did that. And that's heartbreaking. Oh, I didn't think about you. That's the big one. We all think that all these clients we've helped in the past are sitting around just remembering us, that we're just, if I had this problem, I'm going to call Rusty because he did so great last time. But that is not the case. We are competing with all the noise out there for whatever we do. And if we don't stay on their mind when they don't need us, we're not going to be on their mind when they do need us.
So you're saying, and I love the concept of staying in your backyard and looking at what you're doing internally. I think that's great. So you're doing outreach in terms of direct mail pieces. What are some of the direct mail pieces that you're putting out?
Birthday cards are huge, obviously. It's easy to do. Get a database of your clients. We have an email birthday card. We have a mailed birthday card. We do an email newsletter. I used to do a mailed newsletter. I go back and forth with it. Of course, we do holiday cards. We do Christmas cards.
Are you giving, in the birthday card, are you giving them anything?
No,
Or just saying happy birthday?
just happy birthday.
Yeah.
Now, we will occasionally go back to past clients and try to send just a random thank you gift. Like, somebody we represented 2 years ago had a good case with us. We'll send them a gift card, maybe to a coffee shop or something like that, just to stay on their mind, and just to show that we're still thinking about them.
When you send a birthday, does it have your law firm on it?
So on the back, so not real big on the top. Now, the card itself has our logo in there, and we sign them. Our return address is on the very back.
So it's a happy birthday card branded with your law firm.
That's it. We have them printed up. It's got our logo there. We all take turns signing it. It has some language in there already, like, we hope this is your best year ever, or something like that.
Do you get feedback back when these get sent out?
It's funny is some of the feedback that I get are like people like, I got a letter from a lawyer. What is this? I don't know.
It's great. Yeah, I'm sure they're opening it up real quick
Right.
from the law offices of, oh, happy birthday, Jesus, you giving me a heart attack. Okay, so birthday cards, holiday cards, and also an email happy birthday.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. And then how are you asking for a referral? Like, what's that conversation look like?
So one of the things we do on all of our outgoing mail, we bought some little round stickers we had pre-printed that say we love referrals. On every piece of mail we stick out, we stick it on the back of the envelope. Mm-hmm. When we send out our newsletters, don't forget us, we love referrals. When I communicate in networking groups with my friends, don't forget about us, because you have to ask for it. You have to not be afraid to ask for the business. I have kids to feed, I've got staff to support, I've got bills to pay, and if somebody I know needs what I do, I want to be the one they think about.
So are you getting on a phone call and, do you have, let me ask you this, do you have referral partners that you work with?
Some, and this is actually something new that I'm trying to develop. So one of the things I do that's a little bit unique is I'm also licensed in Texas. So I get a handful of cases every year from somebody who's in Louisiana but got injured in Texas. They came back here. Maybe they're working with Louisiana here or with an attorney in Louisiana here, but they need an attorney in Texas to be involved. So they'll refer the case over to me. So I just sat down. I made a spreadsheet of about 60 lawyers that I know who probably aren't sitting around thinking about me for their Texas cases. And again, because these are other lawyers, I can advertise openly to them. I don't have to go get it approved by the Bar Association or anything like that. And I put together a plan to where we're going to send those 60 lawyers out a letter every quarter. It's basically the same letter. Hey, if you get a case in Texas, think about us. Don't turn it away. Don't refer it out to somebody on Google. Think about us, just to generate that. So that's one avenue that I'm trying to develop some referral partners. Other avenues that I've worked on for personal injury attorneys, body shops, of course, chiropractors, or general practitioners, general medicine, anywhere where somebody's going to go right after their accident, insurance agents. And every couple of weeks, I will go to maybe Rouse's or something like that. I'll buy 5 or 6 dozen cookies, and I'll go around and I'll just drop them some off. Now, as a lawyer, I'm not allowed to sell when I walk in the door. Or my marketing assistant, even if she's doing it, is not allowed to sell when she walks in the door. We can't say, hey, we'd love for you to give us some business. All we can say is something along the lines of, just wanted to drop you something off. Hope you're having a great day. Now, if they ask what I do, I can talk to them. And because we're hitting the same people, I sat down and I looked around my office. And again, I made another spreadsheet of those types of businesses around my office. Body shops, chiropractors, insurance agents, anybody else that somebody who's gotten into an accident might be calling. And we just go around and try to stay on their mind.
How many people do you have to follow up with on a monthly basis?
Referral-wise?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So I don't really follow up monthly. I tend to do things quarterly.
Got it.
I don't want to overburden people, but so I try to repeat my list every quarter that we're going around contacting.
That's cool. And some sort of touch point.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an email list that you work with?
So I've cultivated one, but I don't really work with it. I don't know. maybe it's in my own mind because I dislike email so much.
I don't blame you.
So literally, this is something I
Melanie
started.
loves emails.
Yeah. Good for her. She has a great heart.
She doesn't.
So about a year ago, I started this discipline where I come in the morning, I check my email, and I shut it off. I check it again at 10:30, and I check it at 2:30, and I check it before I leave.
That's great.
It has drastically increased my productivity because when you're sitting there trying to get something done and your email pops up with all this stuff, and you can't stop and deal with it because it breaks your train of thought. And I also went into my email, and we run a Google back office, so I created these. I'm sure you can do it in other ones, but I created folders and filters, so certain emails automatically go to certain boxes that I might check once a week. If I certain.
Oh, really?
vendors. Yeah.
Automatically, you set it up.
Automatically. It skips the inbox. It goes straight there. So if it's from like the Bar Association, well, they send out regular things.
Right. You don't ever want to read anything from them.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
At least not daily. So, I mean, you sit down and you skim through it. But it's not something I want to look at every day.
Boring. Right.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, the bar association is important. No, but that's cool. So you can do that in Google? You can do Gmail?
Well, so our domain is hosted through Google, and our email, I guess it is Gmail. It's just not a Gmail address.
Right. It's your name at.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But yeah, you can do that. You create a filter, and then you skip the inbox, and anything with that phrase or whatever will go straight.
It just goes there.
Yep.
I need to do that.
It's
I have to do it.
It just changes your day
Yeah. So talk about, like, you seem operations focused.
a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah. No, which is great, right? Like I'm getting more in the operational end of things, like thinking wise, because working on the big things is moving the needle forward, right? Me checking my email and being a slave to it is not
It is not.
making the needle go forward,
It is
right?
not.
It's like a, and I think it is that jackpot machine that you're like, something's gonna pop, and then it's like, oh yay, and you get the dopamine fix.
That's right.
Because it's like a good email, but total waste of time, right?
Totally.
So how are you like maybe figuring out your day? Do you do it in the morning? Do you do it the night before?
So I'm a calendar fanatic.
Right.
And this is also something you can do in Google. So if you were to see my calendar, you can set it in different colors. So I've got what I call block calendaring. So every Monday from 9 to 12, I am in legal production. Every Monday from 12 to 1, I'm in marketing. I have consults set in the afternoon. And so my calendar is planned out indefinitely.
Like time blocking.
It's you time block it. Now, it doesn't always overlap. So that's the calendar that I see. Now, on top of there is my actual work calendar. So if I have a deposition, it's going to go hopefully into legal production. Or if I have to go to court, I can't do anything about it. You have to go and you have to go. But if I know I want to do a marketing effort 2 weeks from now, I go in and I find that blocked off time on my calendar and I put it on there so that my staff doesn't schedule anything there. And when that time rolls around, that's when I go do it. So that's kind of what I do, the big chunks. And you should really think of your calendar like a river, okay? Put your big stones down,
Right.
the stuff that everything has to go around. Go ahead. When the birthdays are, when the anniversaries are, when you have to be out of town, when all that's coming up, go ahead and put that on your calendar, right? Then you start filling in with the other things that you want to get done. So what are the other smaller things? Well, I would like to get this done. I would like to go to this event. I would, if this works out, it would be great to do that. Now, all that's on my Google Calendar. Now, I end every day, I have a notepad that sits on my desk. There's some pre-printed notepads that I had, and it's got 7 spots on it. So I sit down at the end of every day, and I write out what I'm going to get done tomorrow. 3 or 4 things. I try not to go more than that because realistically, it's hard for me to get 3 good things done in a day. Everything takes longer than you think that it should. And so I sit down, write my items out, and when I come in the morning, there I go. It's laid out for me. And hopefully I've gone in and blocked off on my calendar when I'm going to get that done.
So you block off, you do the time blocking ahead of time. So hey, on Mondays from this time to this time, I'm doing this. Tuesdays from this time to this time, I'm doing this. Wednesday from this time to this time. And then based on your 7 things that you're going to do the night before, you place them into that time blocking. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I may not get quite that meticulous. Like I might know, all right, I've got these 7 things to do. I've got these 4 hours set aside for production. They're all going to get done during that 4-hour window. But I don't feel guilty about not doing them when I'm working on something else because I know when they're going to happen.
Ah, where'd you learn this?
Can't really, it's hard to put it down to one spot. So I'm always reading. I'm always, I believe personal development precedes professional development. So I'm a pretty avid reader. You get down to maybe James Clear with Atomic Habits. You get down to, of course, you go back to Stephen Covey, with Highly Effective People, all sorts of things like that. Listening to other podcasts, listening to how other people do it. I am part of a coaching program to help attorneys learn how to run a law practice because they don't teach you that in law school.
What's it called?
How to manage a small law
Yeah,
firm.
how to manage.
Yeah. So I'm part of that group. I pick up a ton of stuff there.
That's cool. No, I love this time blocking aspect. How do you, and you may not have this problem, I have this problem. I will schedule something and I'm actively working on that. And then everything else, I'm like, but I have to do that, but I have to do that, but I have to do. How are you like, no, I've set a set. I told myself this is what I'm doing. How do you stay disciplined to stay doing that?
Well, I wish I could tell you I do it as well as I would like to do it because I have that problem too. I think it starts by writing it down and being true to your calendar as much as you can. That's how we build habits, is showing up a little bit at a time, showing up, building that discipline. So if in 1 week I'm disciplined 80% of that week, that's building the skill. Maybe, it happens to me too that I'm working on something. Look, it happens to me that I'm working on something and the phone rings and something comes up that I wasn't even planning on dealing with, and a client's got a problem, or I got to go to school and get one of my kids, or, all that happens in my life too. But the more you show up and do the things you told yourself you're going to do, the better you will get at showing up and doing the things you said you were going to do.
Right. It's that discipline, man. Do you have a Pomodoro timer? Have you heard of this?
No.
So the Pomodoro timer is to say that, for 45 minutes you can do anything, right? And it's like, but you get the chunks in and then you like set the timer and it's just like for 45 minutes and for 45 minutes you're just working on that. Okay. So timing, it's just reminding myself to time myself to like stay focused on that. So that's definitely a problem because I'm always, if I'm somewhere else, if I'm on vacation, I'm thinking about work. If I'm at work, I'm thinking about vacation. Why do we do that?
So somebody like you and me, work is never going to leave our mind.
Right.
Like I hear this story about, you should be able to go on vacation for 3 weeks with emergency access only, where you just go get away. It would drive me nuts to sit there and stare at a coconut tree for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
All I'm going to be thinking about is when I get back, I'm fixing this and I'm fixing that.
Yeah.
I have this problem to solve and I'm going to do this. So for me, a vacation, if I get 3 or 4 days on a vacation, maybe 5, you unwind a little bit. And when I'm there, I'm still, even if I'm not working on the work, I'm working on the business.
Yeah, that's when you get the best ideas on vacation, when you're away from it and you're all like, there's the epiphany.
And my take on that is that if you think you're going to go on vacation and not do that, you're leaving a part of yourself behind because it's who you are. Now, I'm not saying we should be obsessed with that. Go play a game of golf. Go whatever it is you like to do. Play some tennis. Go for a walk. I don't know, whatever. Have some of that time to yourself, but don't feel bad about bringing who you are with you on vacation.
Hallelujah. I like that. Yeah, for sure. What are you reading these days?
So I'm reading Trial by Human by Nick Rowley. He's a pretty good trial attorney who's gotten some very good verdicts, and it's about really understanding your clients, really taking the time to present yourself as a human to the jury, not as a lawyer, not with legalese, not talking above their heads, not boring them, but really presenting the human side of your client and understanding the jury and helping them care about your client and your case. I'm reading that. I am reading
Trial by Human, you said?
Trial by Human.
That's cool.
I'm reading Your Right to Be Rich by Napoleon Hill. I haven't mastered it yet, but I keep working on it.
How different is that from Think and Grow Rich?
So Your Right to Be Rich is actually not something he wrote. It's a series of talks that he gave that someone else transcribed. So, of course, you get a lot of the same concepts, but it's not really that that written book like Think and Grow Rich is.
Gotcha. That's cool. I'll check that out for sure. Yeah, I read a lot too. You ever read 10X is Easier Than 2X by Dan Sullivan? It's a good book. It really just talks about the lens in which you do things and how you do things and what things you should be working on opposed to what you shouldn't be working on. Because it's like, if you're thinking 2X, like that's the lens, right? But if you're thinking 10X, then that's the lens. And so that everything that you're filtering everything, every task that you do, all of the things that you're doing on a daily basis is through that lens of, is this 10Xing or is this 2Xing?
Right.
And then finding the people. And then he wrote another book called Who Not How, which is also fantastic. But it's, it's like finding the people that you need to get the things done so that you're not spending, all of the time doing stuff that you don't necessarily need to be doing, but that you need to get done to get you where you want to go.
Yeah, so I read the Who Not How book, and it really helps the way that I hire.
Yeah, hiring is good. Buy back your time is also a good one on that. Because it talks about, I think it's 2,000 hours divided by your net revenue for the year, and then that divided by 4 is your buyback time.
Interesting.
And then that way, so when you're working on something and you're all like, this could be done by someone else, this is who I need to be, this is how much I need to pay in order to get that done.
When this conversation started and we were talking about the use of time, and that's one of the things that crossed my mind was the exercise that you've probably done at some point where you sit down, take out a sheet of paper, and you write down what you do all day. And actually, I spent 15 minutes doing this. I spent 30 minutes doing this.
Yeah.
And actually find out how much time you waste that as a lawyer, I spend doing stuff that a legal secretary or a receptionist should be doing. And we convince ourselves, it's just easier to get it done, right? Because we don't take the time to train somebody else to do it, to put a procedure in place for somebody else to do it, or even checking our email. How much time do you actually spend checking your email or things like that? And once you write it down, put it down on paper for a week and see where your time actually goes. You'd be surprised to know that most lawyers are really not that productive. If they get
I don't think that's
2.5 hours.
everybody. I think that's pretty much everybody in terms of productivity, except for Melanie. Melanie's super productive, right? Are you, when you're writing the things down for like as far as like how you're spending your day, are you looking back at the day and then going, oh yeah, I spent this much time this much time that? Is that how you're getting that information?
If you try to do that, you're going to miss some time. When you think back, stuff maybe didn't take as long as it actually did, or you're going to forget things. I recommend doing it
hourly.
Less than that. I mean,
As soon as you do it.
Keep it on your desk. And if you spent 20 minutes doing this, or if you decide to do it in 10-minute increments or half-hour increments or whatever it is, put that on there. And it's not a science, right? You don't have to count down to the second. But if you break up your day in 15-minute increments and say, all right, I spent 1.25 hours working on this. I spent a half an hour working on this. Sit down and do that, and it will really help you find time you're wasting.
How often do you do that?
Once a year.
And so you've become a lot more productive as a result?
Yes. One of the things I did is I took off my phone and I deleted Facebook. And it made me more productive.
Yes.
If I want to see Facebook, I turn on my laptop, I log in a couple of times a week, I catch up on whatever I want to catch up on, but I don't scroll, I don't pick it up during the day when there's downtime. It doesn't get in my way.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that is the case with social media. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's definitely what we do, but is a double-edged sword because, then we do spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah, and so I was thinking about that coming here. You're someone who has to be very plugged into this, right? Because you do a lot with that. And I imagine you could still do it, but it's probably something that you're never too far away from because you have to be.
I view social media much differently these days than I used to. Because I used to go there for entertainment.
Okay.
And I go there for entertainment nowadays only if people send me like a funny video, a meme, but I'm not necessarily scrolling for entertainment. I'm scrolling for potential partnerships, potential leads, connections, relationships, or if I see something that I'm like, oh, this would benefit a client, then I'll copy paste and send it to them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that is how I view social media these days. And it's a lot less wasteful in time. I feel like when I'm there, I'm like, I have an agenda. This is what I'm doing.
Exactly. You've made it a tool.
Yes.
Not a time thief.
Yeah, it was a time suck for sure. And it can be still, you know what I mean? But yeah, I definitely, if I'm not getting massive value from learning from some people that I follow that are like, oh man, that is amazing content, or I'm laughing, laugh out loud at it, that's great. You know what I mean? Other than that, I'm like, who can I connect with? How can I, deepen relationships? And pretty much that's how I'm using social media. That's why I have a team that delivers all the content for me. I don't post anymore because it's definitely a headache. It's definitely a thing. So I kudos to you. You know what I did do? Turn off the notifications. So my text messages, I don't get any more text message notifications. They're in there, and when I go there, I'll look at it. It drives my wife crazy because she's like, "You're on the phone all the time. You didn't see it." I was like, "I don't. I have to take all of the notifications off because if I don't, it's like ding, 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 ding. It'll sound like the casino. I can't have it. I really can't do it." So, but in closing, very, very, very cool. You should write a book, man, on time management. I think people don't really think about that enough, in terms of they're always thinking about other things that could be making them money, but they're not really introspectively looking at what they're doing time-wise. And I'm always talking about low-hanging fruit. I'm like, what do you have around you right now that you could be focused on to make money?
That goes back to what you said at the very start of this, and what we talked about is that greatness is boring. Greatness is showing up, doing the small, simple things that need to be done that are going to move your business forward, that are going to move your personal skills forward, that are going to move your professional skills forward. Whatever it is you need to do to move the needle forward, to show up and do it every day. That's where time management comes in, because if you don't make a plan for when you're going to do that, it won't happen. The day will come and go, and somebody will ask you what you did today, and you'll say, I don't know, nothing, because the day just flew by.
Hallelujah. Rusty Messer, tell them where they can find you.
So we are at Big River Trial Attorneys. We are in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. BigRiverLaw.com, on Facebook at Big River Law.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming for sure. All right. And that was Spaghetti on the Wall, ladies and gentlemen, with Rusty Messer. And Spaghetti on the Wall is brought to you by Leduc Entertainment. For all of your social media marketing needs, podcasting, we got you, and you can watch Spaghetti on the Wall anywhere. Just Google it. You're probably listening to it right now. Duh. All right. We'll see y'all next time.